When I'm not celebrating the previously unheard of milestone of a guitar channel reaching double-digit female viewership percentage, I like to answer questions that I get on YouTube, so let's get to it. What is the most effective way to make yourself write a song? So essentially what this is asking is how to force yourself to be creative. And I think a lot of times musicians really suffer with this, myself included. I was raised in an Irish Catholic household, so really shame is my best motivator and punishing myself. So if I'm going through like a rut of maybe not doing something creative, I will just withhold something that I love to do until I get that thing done. And it's really one of those things that like, you can't, to a certain extent, you can't force yourself to be creative, but what you can do is you can force yourself into a position where you might be creative. Inspiration strikes in all different times, and I think really, if you're in a creative rut, the best thing you can do is just be present and just kind of carve out some time and try to make something happen. And if you really kind of get into the habit of being like, all right, I have this time set aside where I'm just going to try to be creative on my instrument or whatever, if you want to write, if you want to do art, anything, you just really have to be present. Because I think if you put the pressure on yourself that, oh, I have to be creative now, then it can be a very frustrating time because, you know, I can't really speak for everybody, but for me personally, sometimes I'll try to be creative and it's just not happening. You know what I mean? Every now and then it's just not going to happen. That's kind of the weird thing about the elusiveness of creativity. So all you can really do is just make yourself be present and get in the habit of allowing to have the time to be creative, and then eventually things are going to start happening. You know, that's kind of just how I do it. And then, like I said, in the meantime, just really just hate on yourself, feel the shame, have the shame wash over you and become part of your soul. And then eventually you're going to have to get it together, or you'll just hate yourself for the rest of your life. Who are some of your biggest inspirations? So definitely the two biggest inspirations I ever had when I was first starting were Elliott Smith and Jimi Hendrix. I kind of had the acoustic and the electric yin and the yang for both of them. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Elliott Smith is kind of like the main reason that I even play guitar and I play the way that I do. Later on, I just got super into Radiohead. Radiohead and Muse are incredible inspirations for me to this day. I do think I have settled on Radiohead being my favorite band of all time, but those are probably my top four. If I had to pick a fifth one to round it out, Fiona Apple, because I think she is really by a very wide margin the greatest songwriter of modern times. If you don't know Fiona Apple, definitely do yourself a favor and check her out. So yeah, Elliott Smith, Jimi Hendrix, Radiohead, Muse, and Fiona. How many guitars do you have? Great question. I do not even know the answer, but I think I'm actually going to film a video this weekend going through the guitars. So hopefully by next week, you're going to find out at the same time that I do. The best product at Summer NAMM. Another great question. Now, if you've never been to NAMM, or if you've never seen the coverage on it, it's just this entire enormous convention. Even the summer one, the winter one's bigger, but the summer one is still just so much guitar stuff, audio stuff, piano stuff everywhere that it is incredibly overwhelming. So to pick just one is kind of weird, but I will have to say that my favorite part of NAMM is the guitar pedal community. I just think that the pedal community is just stocked with like some of like the nicest, most passionate people that you will ever meet. And every time I just find myself talking to any of the pedal guys out there, there's nothing but good vibes. It's a very interesting market because you don't get a sense of competition between the different pedal brands. There's more of like a camaraderie than anything else. So I want to shout out Red Panda Pedals, my buddy Andy Pitcher, who is the man out there. Old Blood Noise Pedals is fantastic. I think they had the best booth at NAMM, actually. And Chase Bliss, too, are probably my top three. But again, really, all of the pedal manufacturers are great. So huge shout out to the pedal community. It's something I'm getting more into. I'm not naturally a pedal guy, but I'm getting more into it, and you're going to see more pedal videos coming soon. So definitely just kind of getting to chat with the pedal guys and have them share some of that enthusiasm is definitely rubbed off on me. And I look forward to spending more time with them soon. I don't need this help because it's not a help. So you're saying you don't need help in general? Or you don't need this help? Which you further disqualify this as even being help because it's not a help. This is really almost kind of like an existential Salty Blues comment. Thoughts on the two new Tool songs that they've been playing live? I have purposefully not listened to the two new Tool songs, but I am beyond stoked that apparently this Friday, all of Tool's back catalog will finally be on streaming, and we're going to get some new Tool. So again, Tool is one of my favorite bands of all time. I have been a little salty towards them because of the holdout on making their music available for streaming, even though I've bought all the albums, but again, those CDs are long gone by now. So I'm stoked to finally get some Tool, and I'm stoked to finally listen to those songs in album format first, and then I'll probably catch the live stuff after that. Favorite Beatles song? Definitely Cry Baby Cry, deep cut, great. Do you have any pet peeves, and if so, pray tell? 100% number one pet peeve is people being late. I cannot stand when people are late. I think it is the most disrespectful thing that you can really do in any kind of even just like professional, friendly setting ever. I'm never, ever late. If I'm ever more than 5 minutes late, call the authorities because something terrible has happened. Sadly, in musician world, being late is just kind of like how people operate, which blows my mind to this day. I have totally lost business opportunities, or not even lost business opportunities, but like I just refuse to work with people who are like habitually late. I think it's the worst. I am a super low-key, low-maintenance guy. People being late and disrespecting other people's time is really my only pet peeve. Nothing else really even bothers me. But definitely do not be late. What is the most underrated Led Zeppelin song? I think we can all agree that it's Four Sticks, right? Awesome riff. I never ever hear it on the radio or even mentioned in the same breath as like the rest of the Zeppelin catalog, which I always hear a lot about. So I would say it's either Four Sticks, not crazy about the synth stuff that comes on later in the song. Looking to you, John Paul Jones. Either that or Hey Hey What Can I Do? Definitely another great song that somehow like didn't make it onto the like original album and ended up being like a B-side off of one of the other ones. But those are my top two most underrated Zeppelin songs. What do you think of that Sage? So this right here is the Orangewood Sage. They just kind of released this new line of all solid wood acoustics. I've only had it for a few days, but plays great. Sounds amazing. It's lighter than I thought it would be, but I might do a full demo on this thing. I might actually shoot it out with the Taylor. It's kind of like a similar thing. But I don't know, if there's any Orangewood Sage related videos you want to see, other than just maybe a traditional demo, let me know and I'll check it out. But definitely impressed because I think this guitar's like $695, all solid wood. Now it is made in China, but it comes with a really nice hard shell case. So far I'm pretty impressed. Way to find a way to minimize an incredible art form. Yes, I actually study. I knew I was gonna get some kind of elitist jazz comment from doing how to fake jazz guitar video, which obviously this person didn't watch, because really, the whole thing, if you haven't watched, check it out, because it's like it's almost more of like an intro to jazz, because it's like a 2-5-1, and what you can play over it, which I made special note to not disrespect jazz in any way the entire video, but apparently this guy still felt disrespected, and then felt the need to add, yes, I study, at the end of that sentence. I feel like there should be an understanding that when you're posting a negative, hate, salty YouTube comment, you don't really need to follow up with like, yes, I study. Because that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if you have qualifications and if you study jazz enough to tell me that this isn't a jazz lesson. Yes, I study. Hey Sean, just wondering, is a diminished seventh just a different name for a minor 7 flat 5? Now this is another question that a couple people asked on that jazz video where we went C major 7 to D flat or C sharp diminished 7 to D minor to G. And no, it actually is not. And this is something a lot of people are confused by because the 7th chord of the 7th note in a key, so in the key of C, the 7th, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, would be B minor 7 flat 5, which is known as half diminished. A diminished 7th chord, like this, is known as full diminished. Now the incredible thing about a diminished 7th chord, I think I actually did a video, I'll try to find it and link it to this, is that it doesn't really exist diatonically in any key, but it actually is the perfect chord to be used passing between chords a full step away. So for example, I'll kind of do the same thing that I was doing where we'll do, let's say we're in the key of G, and I'm gonna go 4 chord to 5 chord to 6 chord to 7 chord to the root note chord, right? So the reason I'm doing this is because we have a chord, we have a whole step of space, another chord, a whole step, another chord, a whole step, and then a half step right there, okay? So if you put a diminished 7 in between every one of those, it sounds pretty good. Diminished 7, 5, diminished 7, 6, diminished 7, 7 chord, resolve. So a diminished 7 is definitely different than a minor 7 flat 5, and there are different uses for them. So for listening homework this week, I'm going to link you to an awesome band called Mother Mother, which is a really cool song called Ghosting. I really like the composition, the arrangement of the song. Definitely check it out. These guys have been doing it a long time. So check that out. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website. And make sure to check out the masterclass, which I'm also going to link below because it's still discounted for the rest of the month. And I will talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.